So this is that utility I was talking about. You run this and that will install the utility. It's a really quick install. It only takes a few seconds to install it. Again, its prereq is .NET 4.8. We include that with our download if you don't have it already on the system. Once it is installed, you'll find it in your start menu here. You can click and launch it. And the first thing you'll actually see, I've already launched it here, but the first thing you'll see is this screen here where you're specifying the location of your dispatcher. So I'm running Win91 on the same machine, so I've got it set to this computer. If it was connecting to a remote system, I would be typing in the IP address or the host name of that Win91 system here and then hitting the save button down there. So I'm leaving it on this computer, and what you want to do is hit this drop down and select a tactic, and that tactic is going to load, and you can see the details are hidden here. You can see the description, repeats, and so on. So here you have full control over a tactic just like you do in the main configuration. And let me, let's see, make sure you guys can still see the screen. All right. So you can select individuals in here, move them around in the list. So let's say you want to reorder it, or let's say I don't need to notify Tom anymore, so I can delete him. As soon as I hit that save button, he's no longer in this callout list, so he won't be notified for this particular tactic. And let's say maybe it was just switching it, so you hit the plus button, and let's say I want to add him back, so you select him, hit the checkbox, and hit OK, and now he's back in the list. And maybe I want to take Wayne Smith out of the tactic, so you can do that there. So it's really basic tactic editing. It's nothing too new for anyone that has used the software before. It's just allowing you to do this in a different application. And another thing real quick, whenever you have some unsaved changes, so you have to hit save obviously to make your changes, and whenever you do hit save, these changes take effect immediately. But you'll have this indicator at the top that you have unsaved changes. If you try to close the utility and you haven't saved it, it will warn you to make sure that you're not exiting out before making your changes. All right, so the connections tab. This is where you can change the schedules associated with individual users. So if I hit a drop down, I can just change the schedule, hit save, and now that person is going to be using that schedule. So typically what we see is people almost always have their contacts set to always, and then when they don't want them to receive notifications anymore, they can just choose never and hit save, and now that person will stop receiving notifications. So that's pretty basic. Some people want more advanced stuff than that, and so they'll have different schedules. These are all the prepackaged schedules that are built into the software. So all these schedules have to be pre-built, and then you can select from them in the list and assign them to individual users. So again, the primary use case for this utility is that operators will be using it, and we wanted to allow them enough flexibility to change who's going to be notified, but don't give them too much control so that they can really change too much within your Win91 configuration. So this is the connections section. You can add role, like I was saying, you can add roles and remove roles. So let's show you guys how you can use roles for the on-call operator. So if I go to my main, you'll see how it's still popping up on top, which, honestly, it can get a little frustrating. I think we're going to need to make a configuration change to allow you to control whether it's on top or not. But anyway, this is the main configuration for Win91. If I have an advanced tactic, what I can do with that is come in here and do a quick tactic that checks to see what time of day it is. In this case, I'll check to see if it's the standard hours and say okay. And if it's true, it's going to go out onto the right. So standard hours, I think, are 8 to 5. So if it's true, it's going to notify who's on the right or just go this way. If it's not true, then it will go over to the left. So so basically, if it goes to the left, it's non-standard hours. So we go to notification, drag a notification block on here. We're going to edit it and say notify anyone that has the label of on call. And then on the right, we'll notify anyone that has the regular operator role. All right, so if it's normal business hours, it will notify the operators. If it's not normal business hours, it will notify whoever has the on-call role. So I can name this, and there's more to the configuration. I'd have to take this tactic and assign it to a strategy and so on. We'll give it a name of on-call tactic and save it. So now if I go back to the contact utility, I can now control who will get notified during off hours by moving this role around from different users. So if it was the operator phone that was always going to be on call, that may be the case, and we can choose that and say okay. If maybe Tom Jones is going to be on call this week, then I just come in here, select him, choose on call, and choose on call, and then hit save. And that means now Tom Jones and myself would start getting notifications anytime it's after hours. And you can, and that's regardless of the schedule. You can set the tactic to notify you regardless of what your schedule is set to, or you can have it honor your schedule. It's a choice within the tactic when you're configuring it. All right, so that's how you can use roles with the contacts utility. So you can see how you can change your schedule. You can also change your name. I don't think too many people will be changing their names in here, but we did allow you to change your name if you so choose. You can also see that each notification method is indicated by the icon that's to the right of their name and the connection string. You can't change the connection string, but you can change the name. All right, so that is the contacts utility. So what if you want to launch it from an HMI screen? So this is the standard FactoryTalk client that's installed with FactoryTalk, so it's a demo. So if I want to launch it from this alarms screen, it's pretty simple. Before I get into that though, what we've gone ahead and done is we've written a few articles already that just show you how to do this. So it takes you step by step on launching the utility from an HMI screen. I think we've got 3 hosted up right now, and we're working on a few more, so those will be available. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff, but we felt like we would just go ahead and document it for you just in case you needed it. So in this case, all we want to do is add a button to the screen, drag it on, go to the action tab. For the release action, we can double click that, choose app start, click next, browse to the location of the utility, which is program files x86 Windows software contacts utility. Choose that application, say open, finish. Go to the up appearance so you can put a label on your button. So you could put, I'll just put contacts utility. Say okay, do a save on the screen. All right, so here is the alarm screen. Here's my button. If I click the button, it launches utility. You can see I can move the HMI screen underneath it. It's always on top of it. I can choose my tactic. Say I want to make a change, so let's remove Wayne Smith from the list and then add Tom Jones to it. Hit OK, hit save, close it, and now I've made my change and I'm already back to the HMI screen. I don't need to go to the normal configuration screen. So one thing I wanted to show you real quick is I did say it's controlled by Windows Authentication, and what I mean by that is the contacts utility is accessing this the dispatcher module, which is hosted by IIS. So all the permissions are controlled by IIS and window and folder permissions. So if I come into the www group folder, go to this dispatcher folder and change the security settings. This is where I can set which users are going to be able to access this Win911 system. If you are in a work group environment, so you don't have a domain, what that means is that you'll need to create a Windows user account that is on the Win911 system and on the remote system that has the same name, same password. If you're in a domain, it's a little bit different. You just add that particular domain user here, or you could create a new domain group, maybe call it Win911 access, and then put that into this security section here, and that's how you can control who can access this Win911 system. So that is what I mean by Windows Authentication.